Hey y'all! So, the 1176 compressor from Universal Audio, it's a classic, it works great on the drums, but it's not cheap either. The question is, can an emulation stand up to the real thing? That's what we're going to look at today. We're going to do a little shootout of a hardware unit of this versus the Waves emulation. For today's comparison, we're going to look at two sound sources, snare drum and bass drum. First up on the snare, I have a Shure Beta 57. This is on a DW Collector's Purple Heart snare, 6.5 by 14 inches. On the bass drum, I have a Bayer Dynamic bass drum mic that's sitting just outside the resonant side head. And this is a DW Collector's, again, this is a Purple Core Maple, 18 by 22. Now, both of these sound sources are going to be running through API preamps and then immediately going into my DAW. Once inside of the computer, I'm going to actually duplicate these tracks. One set of the duplicated tracks is going to have the Waves plugins added, so we'll call those the software tracks. I'm going to be using what they call the Blacky version of the plugin, which is emulating the modern LN hardware unit. Then I'm going to take another set of duplicated tracks and I'm going to reamp those. It's going to come back out of the computer and go through my 1176 compressor. I actually have a Universal Audio, what they call a 6176, so it's a preamp on one side and a compressor on the other. It's going to bypass the preamp and just go to the right side of the unit. This is also an LN model of the hardware, so it's going to be the same style unit as the software version. I'm going to be using similar settings between the hardware and the software. So attack and release, I'm just going to have those up the middle, 4:1 compression ratio, and I'll be aiming for about 7 dB of reduction. There won't be any other plugins on the snare or bass drum track inside the computer, so no other compression, no reverb, no EQ. The other sound sources, like say my overheads or toms, will have additional processing. In the playback, you're actually going to hear 3 sets of things. First, the original raw tracks, then the software tracks, and then the hardware tracks. So what did you guys think? Did you think that the software was able to hold its own against the hardware? Or did you think the hardware had just some little bit of magic going on that the software lacked? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, I have more content coming out all the time, more recording tips for drums and lessons and cymbal reviews and the whole gambit of drum related content. So if you don't want to miss out, then don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.